Albert Camus is a philosopher, like one of my favorite philosophers who I deeply resonate with. Not because like the part he differentiates between just not like whole nihilism, like a complete nihilism, and the way we should revolt in his word as to like how we should be living our lives, even though despite the fact that this universe is indifferent in our lives. Like it doesn't give us any answers. All but like despite that, we should live our life fully. Like we should flourish. And like the reason why he's one of my favorite philosophers is because I always struggled with nihilism. I'm the kind of person who tries to make sense of everything. Like I have to, if I pick a question, then I always answer. I always question too far, like extremely too far enough to the point where everything strips apart, and I have nothing to believe. This is exactly the kind of things that I talked about in my YouTube videos. I mean by early, like a couple of weeks or like even a month, but let's just say, early. I'm a changed man. I don't believe in nihilism anymore, but I was more inclined to nihilism back then. I'm man enough to admit it. Yeah. So the reason why I talk about Albert Camus is because I never really understood what revolt meant. I always felt like, okay, but it's too fairy tale. Like it sounds way too good to be true. And how do you even do it? Okay, you understand that, and how do you not turn out to be like Osamu Dazai's The Stranger? I don't know if you read the novel, but Osamu Dazai. He is a Japanese philosopher also who I deeply resonated with, but his philosophy is much darker than Albert Camus. It's as if Albert Camus but dark version. Uh, it's he actually is mo- how do I say, like he tried multiple killing him, ending himself multiple times, and after he published his book, The Stranger, he actually killed himself. So like living his philosophy is like, I don't know if like that really seriously is not recommended. But the reason why I talk about him is because I always felt like Albert Camus is blindfolding himself, and like his answer, his result of all the things, like like in one of quotes in his book at the end, what the protagonist of his book The Stranger says is that the benign indifference of the universe. I felt like this line, like I feel like this line is like fits so perfectly to this world. How like kind it feels, like it's kind. It doesn't answer us, like it's not like it has emotions, but like it fits so well in this world. And also the reason why I felt like he's blindfolding himself is like, after all, like you all know like all these kind of things, but we are nothing, nothing actually matters. We got to create our own purposes. Like what do you mean we got to revolt? Like, but I always felt like it's it's like he's trying to wrap up this idea as something better than he actually think it is. I don't know if I'm overthinking. I might be, but I always thought that he's not being honest with his like the intention, his true intention. Maybe he felt like it's too pessimistic, so he kind of had to wrap up with some, like label it in a much better way than he actually thinks. So I always didn't understand revolt like fundamentally, but this time I kind of understand. I feel like I saw the glimpse of it as to how we should be living it in his word revolt. After countless like days of just work after work, I really literally treated myself as if I'm a machine. I felt like I'm this character of a web novel. I'm not gonna mention it. It's like very cheap one. Like I don't even think you can even read it. It's like in a website, but it's really difficult to find. Like this character is going through he's like other Camus, but in a much darker version, but not like nihilism. He he sees work as the only anesthesia of of our life. So like you have to numb your brain by working hard. Like because if you're playing, like if you're just hanging out with your friends and if you're just wasting your time, and if you know it, that's not an efficient way to numb your brain, because you're gonna feel much worse after you finish doing that. And he also said that at the end we are going to convince ourselves that the life is worth it anyways, like even if like any kind of like whatever you did in your entire life, if you like at the end you're going to admit, you're going to convince yourself that you did a good job, your life was worth it. And I feel like it's true, but it's so hard to like go oppose of his words. Like he's very his philosophy is definitely very defensive compared to others, but I felt like he sounded more truth, sounded more not like actual honest about himself than Albert Camus. But lately, especially today, I just felt like going to a park. Like I just felt like I wanted to go to a park since today's Sunday, and I usually just stay at my place since today's the only day that I rest throughout the week. I mean by rest, like I don't go to the gym, so I don't have any physical activity today. But I just feel like I want to go to this park, this children's grand park. So there are lots of children's, but I really didn't care less. I just been there and spent like a couple of hours, and I just felt this true sense of like the true ecstasy inside me. I felt joy and happiness. I just felt like the sun is so good, like the shades that provide me, I mean the trees that provide me with shades so that I can rest underneath, like everything just felt so good. And after came back, like just listening to this music that I really love, which are this playlist that I always listen over and over again during while working out. But everything just felt so much better. And even though I know that for a fact that like they aren't actually like these emotions, like emotions fade away. And of course I'm sure I feel this way because I've been limiting myself from procrastinating or like enjoying my time, because I always felt guilty whenever I try to do something fun for me. And this time, like today, everything felt so good. Although I did study for a lot of time, like at least 6 hours today, but it wasn't as stressful as usual. It still is stressful, of course, like learning new things, but I don't even want to in the first place. Like you have to kind of stay in that zone, trying not to care anything. Like you got to be oblivious or like on solely bad thing, and it's not good. Like it's pissing me off every single time. But I'm kind of getting used to it, getting hang of it. But it was just so good. Like today, at the end, I'm listening to this music that I discovered a couple of hours ago, and I'm just over listening, over playing over and over again. I'm like, damn, like it goes hard. I don't know, like it just makes me feel good, and I know this is just this might be just a temporary emotion. Like this is just gonna fade away tomorrow, but I just feel like that's exactly the kind of life that Albert Camus talked about. Like, of course, you gotta have kind of meanings and you gotta live your life, but just because sun makes you happy, like you can enjoy the sun, you can enjoy the sunlight. You don't need to add all the kind of, oh, it's the reason why I feel this way is because my brain sends dopamine and the kind of biological, all the kind of chemical things. We don't need that. Like seriously, we don't need that. Sometimes less is much more, and less is more. And what you need isn't reasoning, logically answering the kind of questions, but you question yourself for whatever reason. Let's say defensive, could be, we never know. You got to be honest with yourself, and you got to answer it. But I just feel like I kind of felt I kind of saw the glimpse of how I should be living for the rest of my life, no matter what's to come. Um, Obviously, career, money, all the kind of things matter, but like we should learn. I think happiness is something that we should teach ourselves. how to be happy is something that we should teach ourselves and teach our younger generation in school. It's happiness is not emotion. It's not an emotion. It's something that you can teach yourself. I think it was Aristotle. I don't know, like I just read some articles and his philosophy, not even books. I don't even know what that was, like some fairy tales about him. But what basically says is his core principle belief, like his core philosophy is about eudaimonism. Like it's flourishing. It's not happiness. It's flourishing. It's something that you can get. You learn how to get there. It's not something you feel it. So I think that's like it just fits so perfectly in our lives. You gotta learn yourself, you gotta teach yourself how to find glim find little small wins that you can stack day by day. It doesn't have to be something good. It's always better to keep it as small as possible, as small and simple, so that you can do it every single day and feel like you're going forward, but not like improving. More like, I don't know. You can pick up not pick up. Let's just say, I don't know. Pick up a trash every single day. I don't know. That's just sounds way too out of the context. But anyways, like it could be anything. Music, the nature. I think nature really fits. Really will help you a lot to find the happiness, to find um a way to kind of enlighten your mood. Not enlighten. Anyways, that's it about this video. Thank you for watching.